Will Bitcoin give us a climactic action to seek the bottom of this rising channel? We will also analyze, because we consider it crucial, to identify these defense zones in both Ethereum and Solana. We are looking at Bitcoin on its daily chart. And yes, we remain positive in the long term for the entire crypto ecosystem. As we have been explaining in the latest videos, this is because we are experiencing a corrective pattern of a bearish impulse, which we can label with a W, a Y, and a macro bullish Z that remains intact, as this macro bullish Z has not yet broken its guideline. Therefore, as long as this guideline remains intact, we will continue to be positive in the crypto ecosystem on a macro level. In the medium term, we are also positive as we are experiencing a bearish corrective pattern that would have already ended. Notice here that we have a bullish impulse and can label W, Y, and Z. This Z has already sought the guideline of the corrective pattern. Therefore, having already experienced the bullish impulse and the corrective pattern, we will now be waiting for a strong upward breakout to seek a replication of the original bullish impulse. But before this happens, we still have short-term movements to analyze. So let's look at the chart in a 1-hour time frame. We see how after the bullish impulse we experienced a few weeks ago, we are now going through a rising channel. If we zoom in a bit more, we can see how in recent days we have experienced a bearish impulse followed by a bearish channel, then a range, and what we are waiting for here is a climactic bearish action after the formation of this range. We would be expecting this on the floor of the channel. Here we could be looking for buying opportunities, as we would expect the price to take us at least to the middle of the channel or even continue to the top. Keeping this entry point, movement target, and a completely controlled risk management in mind, we will be looking for a long entry here with very high potential profit, minimizing the risk with a very tight stop loss. We have the Ethereum chart on the screen in a 4-hour time frame. Just like in Bitcoin, we remain positive in the long term, as this defense zone we are marking here is the guideline of the macro Z equivalent to Bitcoin's. Therefore, as we can see, this defense zone has continued to be respected, which gives us the guideline that Ethereum's macro Z also remains intact, and we continue to look upwards on a macro level. Looking now at the 1-hour time frame, we can see that we have the distribution process and a supply line that continues it. This supply line has continued to be respected, which means that the sellers we have on our left continue to protect their position. What does this mean? It means that when this supply line is breached to the upside, it will do so with great force, because when a previously defended zone stops being defended, the movement is very abrupt. Therefore, when we break this line to the upside, it will be with significant strength. And look here at what we are seeing. We zoomed in a bit on the last stretch, but we are still on the 1-hour time frame. Here we have a bearish impulse followed by a corrective pattern where, for the moment, we could label the W, the Y, and notice how the Z starts to form, which we are expecting to develop. We know how the Z are when we expect them to develop. They do so with a lot of strength in the system. Therefore, we expect this movement of the Z to be the one that breaks through this previously noted guideline. Let's not forget that we have a defense zone here that we need to pay attention to, because if the price does not respect it, we will be talking about a different scenario. Nonetheless, let's remember that in Bitcoin, we are still expecting a possible downward movement in the form of climactic action before we see that bullish impulse. So if Bitcoin gives us that range and climactic action, we could be looking at a cross analysis. Ethereum could continue a bit lower, always respecting this defense zone, and then continue the upward movement we are looking for in the form of a bullish Z. Now, let's analyze Cardano, but first...
Welcome to Crypto Insight, your ethical and moral channel for cryptocurrency technical analysis. Here, we really know what we're talking about. We conduct advanced technical analysis that has been developed for over 12 years. We upload videos several times a week. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, let me know and leave a comment with your opinion. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so you don't miss the next opportunity.
Looking at Cardano's 1-hour chart, we can see that after this price drop, we are anchoring a click on which we are evaluating a macro accumulation process. We will wait for this accumulation process to break to the upside, and when it does, it will do so with a lot of strength. Zooming in a bit on the last part of the chart, we see that we have a strong bullish impulse here that is then corrected, and here we will use cross analysis again and closely watch what Bitcoin does. Therefore, if we see that Bitcoin gives us that climactic bearish action, we could expect this price correction to continue a bit more before we go for that positive impulse we are waiting for. And with that said, we can also add that if the price continues a bit lower, we could be expecting it at the level of $0.37, as this is the institutional target of this micro distribution process. Therefore, at this point at $0.37, we could be looking for a good long entry point to go for that systemic movement. As I mentioned a while ago, always with proper risk management, so that by minimizing losses with an appropriate stop loss, we can find a strong gain that takes us at least to the guideline of this corrective pattern, and at most to seek the the replication of the impulse we were talking about. Therefore, notice how, with a very tight risk control, we have a very strong potential gain. We now have the dot chart on the screen in the 1 hour time frame. Here we can see on our left a distribution process followed by a price drop. This was also continued with a supply line where we can see how all these sellers on our left are defending their positions. Therefore, when this supply line is broken to the upside, it will do so with a lot of force, as it means that all these sellers stop defending their position. Zooming in a bit more, we can also see that in the last stretch we had a bearish impulse, which is being continued by a bearish channel. Therefore, here we will also wait for a range to continue and then look for a climactic bearish action that gives us the opposite impulse we are looking for to the upside, which will break this structure. Remember that we will soon launch our private Telegram channel for our English-speaking community, where we will conduct live technical analysis daily, looking for trading opportunities. This channel will be available very, very soon. To access this private channel, which is already a great success within our Spanish-speaking community, one of the requirements will be to be a user of Bytunix with our referral code. This exchange is accessible from anywhere in the world without a VPN, including the United States, and KYC is not required. Its trading panel is highly competitive and comprehensive, and the assets and market liquidity on this exchange are exactly what we all seek. So get ahead of the game for when we open slots for our private Telegram channel for our English community. Open an account with Bytunix now. We will leave the referral link in the description and pinned comment of this video. We have the Solana chart on the screen in the daily time frame. Here we can see how on a macro level, and thanks to the cross analysis with Bitcoin, we can understand how after this bearish impulse we have experienced a corrective pattern where we are currently experiencing the macro Z. The Z is still following its guidelines, so on a macro level we remain positive. Continuing on a macro level, but this time looking at the 4-hour chart, we can see here a strong bullish impulse followed by a correction. As you can imagine, we will be waiting for the replication of this bullish impulse. Here we expect it to surpass historical highs. Zooming in a bit more, going to the 1-hour time frame, we will try to find an entry point for those longs that will give us the gain from the bullish replication. Therefore, seeing that we have a defense zone here and expecting the rest of the assets to have a bit more drop before seeing the big rises, we will be waiting for Solana's price to develop a bit more to the downside and respect this defense zone. Here, a good entry point would be a trap below this defense zone, and if we miss this entry and the price reconfirms, then we will have our second entry. After that, it will seek that strong bullish impulse. Remember to also maintain proper risk management here with a tight stop loss that allows us to avoid risks and try to seek a strong gain. If you enjoyed this advanced technical analysis, let me know in the comments. Also like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so you don't miss future analyses. Share this video with your friends and other trading and crypto communities so more people can improve their trading. Good luck with your positions and see you next time.